All right, the thought here, Joe Biden is only in Israel today because he has to be. Joining me is Texas Senator Ted Cruz, great friend. Senator Cruz, I want you to hear what our great friend Marsha Blackburn said on this show last night and then get you to weigh in on it. Please take a listen.
It appears that what he's doing is going to Israel because he feels like he has to. But you look at the manner in which he has chosen to go to Israel. He is not going to let Israeli officials go with him into East Jerusalem. He is going over there pro-Palestine. He is going pro-Iran, pro-Saudi Arabia, pro-China. But look at what he is doing. He is not going in there in a pro-Israel manner.
You think she's right, Senator?
You know, I do. It really is striking that Biden on this trip is having to go to Israel and Saudi Arabia because his policies of the last year and a half has done so much to alienate our friends that he's desperately trying to repair those relationships. Biden has nominated anti-Israel officials in his administration, has consistently undermined our Israeli allies. And I got to say, Larry, it's really stunning. He's only been there a few hours, and there's already a major gaffe that the White House is having to walk back, which is that Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, stood up and said the Biden administration wants to open a consulate to the Palestinians in East Jerusalem, which is designed to undermine Israel's sovereignty. And within minutes, the White House had to walk that back and say, well, Jake Sullivan didn't really mean that. He misspoke. And it's amazing that he takes a one-day trip and manages to make things even worse.
That is incredible. I had not heard that, Senator. Thank you. I mean, that's incredible. Of course, you know, this guy Sullivan, he's the guy that was pushing Russiagate for the Hillary Clinton campaign, if you recall, 4 or 5 years ago. So
he is also the guy that pushed waiving sanctions on Nord Stream 2 on Putin and Russia, which is what caused the war we have right now in Ukraine. You look at foreign policy, Larry, it's really amazing. Literally every region of the world has gotten worse under Joe Biden, and weakness and appeasement, from the disastrous surrender in Afghanistan to the Taliban, to the war in Ukraine, to the disaster. We just saw a hard leftist anti-American, Petro, elected in Colombia. We're seeing major allies of America moving away from us and moving towards Russia, moving towards China, moving towards Cuba, moving towards Venezuela. And all Biden can do is double down on undermining our national security.
You know, Senator, I hate to go off message or to go off topic, but you know what? You're so right. All they do is give Bolsonaro in Brazil, who's really the last freedom and democracy guy left, they give him the back of their hand. And Bolsonaro is a strong freedom and democracy guy, you know? So your point is extremely well taken, sir. Extremely well taken.
Well, you know, Larry, there's a reason for that, which is the way this White House thinks about foreign policy. They think about it all through the lens of domestic politics, and they divide countries into red countries and blue countries. And red countries are defined by those that want to be friends with America, and particularly those that were friendly with Trump. And the Biden administration hates them. And then blue countries are countries like China, like Iran, like Venezuela, who hate America. So the red countries, Bolsonaro, you've got the largest country in Latin America, very pro-America. The Biden White House wants to undermine them. You've got India, the largest democracy in the world, very pro-America, making a pivot towards America. Biden wants to undermine them. You've got Israel, a relationship that is foundational. Biden wants to undermine them. You've got the United Kingdom, a special relationship we've had where Biden wants to undermine them and, in fact, work to say he doesn't want to see a free trade agreement with the United Kingdom. It's consistently, if you are a friend of America, the Biden White House treats you with hostility. It's exactly backwards.
Yeah, they'd rather do business with Iran. You're right.
Yeah.
Senator, let's come home for a moment. A disastrous inflation report today. To me, it's unimaginable that anybody would want to raise spending and taxing another $1 trillion after a report like today, which, senators, you probably know, today's report shows inflation is accelerating and broadening. And yet there's still, you know, Joe Manchin's a friend, and we've had him on the show, but what he's doing smooching with Chuck Schumer is beyond me.
Look, the Democrats are big government, tax and spend and debt socialists. That's Bernie Sanders, an avowed socialist, is the chair of the Senate Budget Committee. Joe Biden's top economic priority continues to be passing Biden's Build Back Broke plan. And they don't take any responsibility for the trillions of dollars they've spent, for the printing presses that are driving, as you know, inflation. The numbers that came out today, 9.1%. The highest since 1981, and I don't think 1981 is an accidental year. 1981 was coming after the fourth year of Jimmy Carter, the disaster that was the Jimmy Carter economy. And I guess you got to commend Joe Biden that he managed to mess things up in a year and a half as bad as it took Jimmy Carter 4 years to get to.
Yes, afraid so. But do you have any insight? I mean, this reconciliation bill, I mean, if the spending will accelerate the inflation, the tax hikes will deepen the recession. I mean, I don't understand the logic of this.
There is no logic. I mean, it literally lacks economics 101. These people are zealots. They're ideologues. They believe there's no limit to the trillions of dollars they can spend. There's no limit to the trillions of dollars of money they can print. They believe there's no limit to the taxes they can raise. They have no understanding, not even of subtle macroeconomics. They don't understand Econ 101. Listen, Joe Biden is a president who sent a tweet yelling at gas station owners saying, lower your prices now because, you know, a bunch of small business owners who are price takers are now suddenly the ones that are painted as the bad guys because this administration can't acknowledge their own policies. The relentless assault on U.S. energy production is the direct cause of the skyrocketing gas prices. And by the way, gas prices under Joe Biden had risen 48% before Putin invaded Ukraine. So as much as he might try to blame it on Putin, this is Joe Biden's baby. He created it, and he owns it.
You know, the stuff that's really picking up, the prices that are really picking up in today's report are non-energy prices and actually non-food prices. In other words, this thing is broadening and deepening. So if we don't get some supply side help, I don't know, the Fed's going to push us into a recession. We're probably already in one. Senator, you're going down, I'm told you're going down with a group to the border to have a look at that catastrophe also?
So I am. Tomorrow I'm taking a group of senators down to our southern border, the Rio Grande Valley. You may remember last year I took 19 senators down there. We toured the border. I've been there many, many times. It is worse than it has ever been in my lifetime. It's worse than I've ever seen it. It is utter chaos. We've got 2.6 million people that have crossed illegally under Joe Biden, the highest rate in 62 years. And we're going to go see firsthand. We're going to go to the midnight muster with the Border Patrol agents, encourage them, thank them. We're going to go out on midnight patrol. We're going to go up on Black Hawk helicopters and tour the border. And every time you're down there, you see just a deluge of illegal immigrants coming across the border. Last time we were there, we were out on the river. We saw a man floating dead in the river, clearly had died trying to cross illegally. And what is shocking is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they created this crisis and they do not care. Joe Biden needs to come to the southern border. He needs to look firsthand at the disaster that he caused. He needs to look at the over 50 bodies that were found in Texas and San Antonio in a tractor trailer of illegal aliens who died of heat stroke, including children as young as 13. The body count due to Biden's border crisis, it keeps going up and up and up. And neither Biden nor Harris can be bothered to care or even go to the Rio Grande Valley to see the human suffering that they're causing.
Well, I know you're right. I don't understand it, sir. You know, I mean, I've served my terms in government. I've never seen anything like this. I don't understand it. You know, once upon a time, you and I talked about you're looking at the presidency. I hope you have it still on the back burner. I'm not kidding.
Well, thank you, Larry.
We need a little. You know what it is? You know what it is, Senator Cruz? This crowd has no horse sense. They have no common sense. That's their damn problem. None of them ever been in business. They don't think things through. It's all a bunch of ideological crap. That's all it is.
You know, it reminds me of something Reagan said a long time ago about the far left. He said, it's not what they know.
It's what they
so
don't know.
much of what they know just
It's
isn't
wrong.
so. And that defines this White House.
Senator Ted Cruz, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.